back to Model Base Alpha. Another deep dive into the back of the stash today. 1/48 scale Eagles. So yeah, over the past few years, a few things to choose from. Nice Eagle by MPC. The basic one, which obviously you could paint up as the medical pod, or if you were so inclined, the freighter one. Again, another fine MPC kit. So, but the choice doesn't end there. And yet another MPC kit. So this one with the lab pod and the optional spine booster to make up your Eagle from episode 1 of season 2, the Metamorph. Another fine kit, again 1/24 scale. But what did we do before MPC came along? Well, that was mainly the domain of garage kits. So we were probably looking at something like this one. This is the Replicas Unlimited 1/48 scale, roughly 23 inches long, around 70 pieces. Yeah, this one's been in the stash a while. As you can see, the glue's kind of dried out and it's faded. Never been built, so let's tackle it. I mean, when you've got something nice like a round 2 kit, why make life easy? Let's struggle a bit and deal with some resin. Opening the box, it's a bunch of tubes and rods here, both metal and plastic. Looks like brass rod. And first thing off is some instructions, parts inventory, and then we've got a fairly nice selection of drawings and various steps of construction. So that's the instructions, and then we are going to dig into the bagged parts here. So first off, 3 sections for the command module, top and bottom. Obviously doesn't matter which is which. Obviously it matters for the rear section with the door. And in this bag I have a selection here. Engine bells, rear engine bells, baffles, tanks for the engine, and circular tanks, and thrusters for underneath the main body and the passenger pod. All of those look fairly nice and crisp. And the next bag and this is the passenger pod, as you can tell. quite a hefty piece of resin. And the top two sections for the spine. So just to give you an idea of how long that's going to be. And the two sides of the passenger pod. Going to need some cleanup to make those match, but otherwise they're quite nice. And we have the cage sections. And we have the mid walkway sections. Does have some detail from the Soyuz, both here and here, and some approximations of the lunar lander, but all in all not too bad. And for the lower section there, doorway mounts and the landing gear, which is very nice and crisp. So the next pack is shoulder pods for the landing gear. Which will allow for springs to be put in so that they can work for the landing gear. Again, quite nice. Require a little bit of cleanup around the edges, but otherwise not too bad. And the final bag is the miscellaneous parts, which there are quite a few. So we have for underneath the cages, the rear cage sections, or inside the cage sections, the details. Rear engine section, and then there's various piping parts, minor details for the spine and the landing gear, manoeuvring thruster jets, and what I would call the sensor dishes, but I guess current thinking seems to be their attitudes adjusters, so more thruster jets for the command module to move and rotate by itself when detached from the main body. So lots of extra details there. And finally, buried underneath, a small selection of decals. Probably not going to be using these. Round 2 came out with an enhanced pack of 4 sheets, 4 sets, so with far more detail and clarity. Other than it being an out-of-the-box build, that's going to be the only change I'll make is for the decals. Yeah, the studio scale is still in still being worked on. So as the parts are, the sections are only released intermittently, this is just going to be a filling in project until the next part arrives. So get on with this and hopefully have something soon. Been reading through the instructions, as you do, or don't do, as the case may be. I've been reading a few things online. Some people seem fairly dissatisfied with their simplicity. They do seem to think that perhaps a more thorough knowledge of the Eagle is going to be required to use these instructions. I also found these. Found these on scalemates.com under the Replicas Unlimited Eagle information. These are by Kennedy Shipyards. These claim to be more comprehensive, and to a certain degree they are. The pages aren't numbered, but there's quite a wodge of information here. What I've also been reading is how many variations of this kit exist. It seems like it went through various iterations. For example, 2 pieces. Some of them came as 1 piece. The landing sections, this for example is solid here, but I've seen images of 1. This section is removed, so it allows access and is a different build inside. So it seems like there's at least 3 versions of this Eagle 1, but I've also seen, this is based on the first Eagle, first 44-inch Eagle, but also there seemed to be detailing for the second Eagle that was made, second studio scale 44-inch Eagle. So who knows, there seem to be at least 3, definitely more, versions of this kit out there, which do render, for example, neither set of instructions I have mention the kit having 2 pieces for the spine. It's not a problem, can be put together, but these third-party instructions do take to task the ones that were included in the kit. However, these themselves are also somewhat inaccurate depending on which version of the kit you've got. So yeah, perhaps not going to be quite as straightforward. Both of them vary in which parts should be done first. So what I've decided to do is perhaps start with the easiest, is this spine section along the top. Did require some cleanup, and I don't know if you can tell, some filling in along some sections, which didn't take much work, but otherwise they're fairly clean and should go together fairly well. Probably going to epoxy, get some metal rod and epoxy those in. Instructions do mention about accurizing the kit. These will require tubes or rods, cross sections, so those will go along the bottom here, so those need to be added. Might have been nice if they'd have been able to cast them to put them in, but scratch build those, put those in. So accurize those, and while I've been thinking about it, the detail on these, as I just mentioned, these are rough approximations of the Airfix lunar lander, and the detailing on the side is good and interesting. But as this will be showing perhaps the most, what I'm thinking of doing, if I'm going to have to accurize this, I might as well accurize this. So what I'm thinking of doing is removing all of this top surface detail, because what I do have is a couple of spares from a round 2 48th scale Eagle, which, as you can see, the lunar landers look a lot better. So remove those and put those on here. Probably make me a little bit happier. The only thing I really don't like about Space 1999 is the use of the lunar landers. I know people have lots of problems with the show. This is my problem. Once you see a lunar lander, you can't unsee a lunar lander. Yeah, they're everywhere. So Mark 9 Hawk, Cetasius, yeah, once you see them, you know they're there, but that's what they used, so that's what I'm thinking of putting on here. So but first of all, we're going to get started with the spine and get that put together. Probably going to use some epoxy because that looks like it's going to need to be held fairly rigidly, and I think I have some metal tubing which is going to fit nicely in there, so I'll get that done and show you when that's complete. Mere nanoseconds will have passed for you. In reality, it's actually been several weeks as real life gets in the way. But did manage to get the spine section done. Did put in some brass rods and epoxied those. It's had a coat of grey primer. Does also put in the cross sections. Does require a little bit more work to clean up where the two parts were joined, but it's nothing major. Also have been busy with some additional grey priming on the cage sections and also the landing gear for underneath the passenger module. In addition, have proceeded to get one of the cage sections. This has had a primer in white. The Eagle was originally painted in Ford Diamond White. As I can no longer just drop into Halfords at any time, this is the American equivalent, supposedly. This is Duplicolor Perfect Match, and this is BFM 0384 rattle can. So going to give this a try, as this is apparently a pretty close match. As you can see, the cap's kind of an off-white, which apparently isn't a great match, but apparently once it's applied over either the grey or the white, it apparently does a pretty good job of matching. Also put a grey coat on the majority of this middle section. Did take off the top detailing. Have been having a thought that what I might do is remove all of the detail from here. The reason being, these three kits, we've got a Panther 1/72 scale, Leopard 1, and the Sheridan all contain parts that were on the detailing. So what I'm thinking of doing, if I'm accurizing other bits, what I might do is apply these parts to this. This is a rough mock-up I made of with some thick plastic card. Yeah, something I'm thinking, not quite sure. Still got a lot of work to do. Was hoping this was going to be a quick out of the box, that was going to be a one sitting effort, but it's really not turning out that way. While some of the parts are perfectly cast, there are some which do require a lot of cleanup. I don't know if you can see along here. This piece was also the same, but once you actually work on it, this isn't quite finished, but it's turning out quite nice. So yeah, like I said, was hoping this was going to be just a straight out of the box build and get it stuck together and done, but it's not turning out that way. So going to take a break here and do some more work and have a think about detailing this part. I don't know, I might keep this, seeing as it's representative of the actual kit itself, which differentiates it from the round 2 ones. So yeah, so that wraps it up for part 1. Part 2 hopefully isn't going to be as long a wait, well, for me anyway, and hope to have that filmed and uploaded as soon as possible. So once again, many thanks for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you could give me a like, that would also be appreciated. And if you haven't subscribed, I'd hope you do that. So see you in the next video. Many thanks for watching. Cheers.